Okay, this is going to be Wings3d 101, and I'm just going to run through this as fast as I can and try to show you as much about this program in a short amount of time. I've done several other videos on how to use it to retopologize and do stuff in conjunction with Sculptress. And I realized maybe I should just do a 101. Okay, when you first go into Wings3d, depending on you probably ends up looking a little more like this with a gray background, but that can be changed just as easily as I've done just right there. Hit R to reset the camera to where it starts out at. This is your front view. This Z, this blue point, that's going to be the front of your model. The red line, X, that should be the sides. That's the X axis, and then of course Y is going to be your up and down. It's reversed from some of the old Blender where Y is actually front and Z is up and down, but it's no big deal as long as you understand that. If you want to import, there's all kinds of options in here. 3D Studio, Wavefront Object. I believe it can actually it can import all kinds of stuff and export in DirectX and a bunch of other MD3, a bunch of other formats as well for some of the other game engines. And if you want to import an image, it's a different import, and it's just something to know. And I'm going to bring this one in. It's just a little wood image I created to help show some of the functions here. Okay, well, let's get started. When you first right click, if there's nothing selected, you'll be more or less asked to choose a shape. What kind of a shape do you want? There's several options here. The first few, you can't even read these. What's a dodecahedron? Is that a dinosaur? No, it's just a shape. But don't let that scare you. For the most part, you'll probably just be starting with a cube. That's about the easiest thing. And then when in Sculptress, you don't want to use the spheres out of Wings3d. If you need a sphere, like if you want to make a low poly eyeball, just get that cube and hit S twice and smooth it, and there's a nice low poly sphere is what it'll become. Should also let you know there's a mirror mode. What you got to do is you go in here to face mode. These are your selections. You can also see them in the menu here, and you can switch in either. We're going to face mode. We're going to select half this model. Now, if I had a more complicated model and I wanted to get a better view of that, I can hit Z, and then it's going to go to orthographic view, and which is straight and flat, and then you can do your selection on there. You can also hit Control and deselect objects or parts. You can also hit plus and minus to grow and shrink your selection. Then I'm going to use, well, I'll show you. Backspace is the keyboard shortcut for this. I just do it out of, but I should show you what I'm using. Hit backspace, and that's going to turn all that into one big polygon right there. They call it an n-gon because it's got more than 4. But I'm going to go to Tools, Virtual Mirror, Create. Now I'm playing with fire. Now everything that I do is going to be mirrored over. So that's pretty good. That's very nice. I showed you yesterday I did a time lapse on building a character, and I realized maybe I should do a quick Wings3d 101 on how to use this program. Okay, so another thing I got my other selection modes up here. Edge selection is real nice, and what I can do with this is I can say like this, I can go and I can do a G, which is going to select the edge ring, or I can hit L, and that's going to select the edge loop. And there's a lot of cool functions you could do with that. And you can actually extrude from an edge. course, scaling. Also, if I just want to move the edges over a little bit, I can slide them, and this tries to follow the topology, and it's a really nice function. Another thing I can do is I can rotate it along the normal. Now, the normal is the direction that it's facing, and it's not just the polygons, it's everything. Everything has a normal, and the normal is the direction that it's facing. If I want to rotate this on its normal, it's going to try to follow the topology, but it's going to rotate it, and there's a lot of cool options there. I don't want to show them normals anymore. Another thing I should show you, you can select the hardness. Let's scale it uniform so it makes more sense. And then we'll tab into our view mode, and when I let go of that, you can see it's all of a sudden, it's showing the other edges as smooth, but it's showing that one as hard. But there's a lot of other cool functions. Now, I use the Manifold Lab version, and just Google Manifold Lab, and I used the one that was released in July. I've had bugs with the other newer ones than that, but one of the options on the Manifold Lab part, we're going to go to our Select menu, which is both in this option. It's the same menu as the Select up here, okay, and go to Lots More. And I'm going to expand my selection to the charted region. Oops, that doesn't work because we're in virtual mirror and it crosses the mirror. I forgot. Let's get out of virtual mirror. And I've got it set up on a keyboard shortcut, but it'd be in the tools menu. And yeah, let's see, the shortcut is tools, virtual mirror, freeze. Yes, yeah, I've got to set it up on a, okay, now let's try that again. We're going to select this. Lots more charted region. Okay, so this, you can set up loops and group loops and stuff like that for fast selection and make things easy on you. Another thing I can do is create separate materials. And maybe we'll give it a little less shine. Actually, let's take all the shine off and take the ambient temperature down on that. And let's give it a color. Okay, we've got a new material. And so now, I can give that this new material, and that's going to show up. And notice there's shine here and there's not shine there because I was able to actually do that in the material. And I can also go over here to the material, and I can say select, and it'll select everything with that material. So you can use that. And that's considered a group. Once it gets exported out, it's considered a group. And if you haven't noticed, we just left click to select. And then I right click to get the menu, and depending on what mode I'm in, I'll get different menu options. Alright, let's see. I'm going to take this, I'm going to go back into face mode, and here's another one. It's Manifold Lab that you won't see if you don't have the Manifold Lab version. And we'll tap out of that, see what that did, divide rigidly. And let's talk about UV mapping. Now I'm going to do this kind of fairly simply here. Baby chart 1. Chart 2, select all those. 4. Say continue unfolding. Now these are all one big chunk because I put them all on the same map, and these are smaller individuals because I made them smaller individuals. Now, and it's created a new material for me now, and I can take this image that I imported, this wood image, and drag this up there as a diffuse texture. And now we got kind of a wood box here, except for it's not very well UV mapped. So let's go back in here and do some UV editing. UV mapping. And we'll deselect those. We'll go in the object mode and scale uniform on this guy. And move free. And I can't seem to find a spot to get him in. So let's do this. Go in here to this mode right here. Move those horizontal a little bit. And we'll take this guy and scale horizontal. Move horizontal. And then we'll take those guys. Try to even that out a little bit. And that shouldn't look too bad. It's not great, but it's not too bad. And let's take these 3 guys. Move to center. We can also stack these up if we want to. And those turn out pretty nice. And see now, this is how you can add a texture to your model. Now, of course, in Sculptress, you can paint the texture, and then what you do is you just come in here and UV map just to get your map. And one thing I will tell you is do not stack them up like we did these last ones. If you're planning on painting in Sculptress, Sculptress does not like that stacked up stuff. You got to each piece has to have its own texture space. You can't stack them up. But you can in Wings3d for simple objects like this. It's really easy to do something like that and build something. Okay, so there's a little something on UV mapping. Also, the whole loop select, okay, is very helpful and functional in UV mapping. And if I have hard edges, they will actually split in the UV map. I'm not sure exactly why, but the same way that it marks the edges for hardness, it also marks them for split on the UV map. And so just something to pay attention to. Okay, so